Hello guys, welcome to the Gaming Field Manual Podcast. I'm Young Lion, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the game Foxhole. Recently I uploaded episode 5 and 6 of season 1 of the new player Logi starting guide, teaching new players how to get started in the game through Logi, and I'm going to be working on other videos, like the next one I'm planning is for the combat side of the video game. But this podcast is going to be my way of talking about other areas of the game that don't necessarily have a visual representation just yet. And it's not going to be only Foxhole related, but for the time being, it's going to be Foxhole related. So, future episodes, we're going to be including other games, other game information, etc., etc. And I got together a few topics here for us to discuss in the very first podcast. I thank you guys for listening. Please leave a like and subscribe, comment down below, all of that good stuff. Let me know what you think about the podcast, if there's anything I could change. You may hear the air conditioning in the background. It's like over 90 degrees outside, so I can't actually turn the air conditioning off right now. I'm going to try my best to edit that out, and I apologize for any inconvenience that may cause. But let's go ahead and hop right on into it. Today, for the first topic, I want to talk to you guys about, I've been searching Reddit, getting some nice topics together, and the first one I found was high player ping, right? There's a new player to the game. He was wondering whether or not he could play the game. He hadn't bought it at the time, but we were talking to him in Reddit, and he has satellite internet, and he normally has about 600 ping, which is like, wow, like extreme. So one of the things we were talking to him about is he may want to stick with the Logi side of doing things. So if you're that new player and you're listening, his name was Oz Mally, something like that. He may want to stick with Logi, because when you have high player ping, and that's something I didn't think about in the beginning. I didn't think about people having ping that high trying to play the game. Maybe they're coming from a different region and, there aren't any servers in that region, so they have to do the best they can. Logi will be your best bet, because on the front line, you're going to have a serious bit of a latency. Like, the enemy is going to probably shoot you and wander off before you even realize they were there. So you're going to have a very hard time on the front line. Logi, a little more laid back, and truthfully, you don't even have to drive. You can just hop in a vehicle with someone and let them drive you around to the different sites, and then everyone hops out together and start gathering resources. This is something I've been doing with a few players as I've been, gathering the clips and things I needed to do the videos I do. Some of the preparation needed, I work with other players to get some of the resources started. And let me tell you, it's much more fun in the new update. The 26 update is much better than in the 25 update. We actually have more players. Like I have a clip where there's about 10 of us on a component mound, and all of us are just running. Every time a new component node spawns, we ran like a swarm of piranha, charging toward that node, all of us with sledgehammers in hand, just crushing that node down. And, we were having great conversation, and it was just a wonderful time. And I think that if you are a player with high ping, you're going to still be able to enjoy the game. You can just do it from the Logi point, where you'll be able to have a much more laid back experience and still benefit the team. Now, as your connection gets better, maybe you can get a new carrier, a new service provider, and some better internet. You'll be able to explore the other areas of the game. But right now, the developers have declared this Logi summer, so we're going to be receiving more updates toward the logistics system, meaning players with high ping, or those who have other difficulties in the game, which I'm going to be talking about next, can have more fun through the logistics side of the game, which is an extremely large part of the game. I have to make sure I put a nice exclamation mark on that. Logi is very important, and it's popular. I can't believe that the developers actually created a game where grind is actually fun, and they did it without microtransactions, without any sort of loot boxes or anything like that. And they've explicitly said in many videos that they are not planning on adding any of that kind of stuff to the game. They believe that it's going to take away from the fun players are going to have, and they want to actually enable players to just do what they want in the field. on the field of battle, giving it that true sandbox nature. They don't want to put all these bunch of little guides in the way to say you can't do this and you can't do that. They let you be as flexible as you can be. And I believe that deserves commending. So if you have high player count, I mean, if you have a high ping, and especially during high player count, I expect that ping to go up a little bit higher. Yeah, definitely go ahead and check out Logi. Next thing I want to talk about for players with RSI or carpal tunnel, here's another topic that was brought up from some of, I don't want to say this wrong, but I guess I'll just be blunt with it. Some of our older players, they are experiencing problems in the game, and they want some quality of life changes that the developers have addressed, such as not auto aim, meaning like aimbot, where it automatically aims to the enemy and you just click a button and shoot. Nothing like that. But what they mean is like a toggle aim, where you click the button once and then it holds down the button or whatever. So something like how we have a toggle sprint in the game. So if you hit exit in the game, you can access the game menu and scroll down. You'll see toggle to sprint, where you can tap the shift key once and it'll toggle your sprint on, and then tap it again to toggle your sprint off. They want something like that for aiming, so that they don't have to hold down the right mouse button the entire time. And it adds stress on those nerves in the hand, causing pain over time. So, I understand that, and I agree with that. I think that those quality of life changes need to be introduced into the game. Same thing with mining. When you go around mining, you're holding down the left button a lot of the times. And, that also causes strain on the hand. And building and repairing is the same thing. If any of you have ever repaired a building from like 40% up, or a bridge, wow, it takes a long time to get that done. And I can imagine there's going to be, I don't suffer from as much of the pains as I've been able to read, but I do have some pain in it, and I found a way to get around it. And this is the part that I want to talk to you about. In the discussion, they were talking about different methods that can be used, like certain Windows functions, like they have the sticky keys that allows you to, Windows sticky keys will hold certain buttons for you. And you can actually use that feature in game to help. There's also other third-party applications like AutoHotkey. AutoHotkey is a scripting platform, which from what I've heard, the developers aren't exactly enthused about it. I've been searching around trying to find some sort of developer quote where they express themselves as saying, we don't want players to use that. I haven't been able to find that myself. If you have found it, please link it below so I can go check it out. But I haven't been able to find it myself. And even in the Reddit threads, people were sharing AutoHotkey scripts in the threads. And I didn't see the developers going, no, get that out of here. We don't want anybody to have that. You're banned, etc. I haven't seen anything like that. And because I haven't seen anything like that, I feel a little more open in talking about it. So with AutoHotkey, you can actually create some very simple scripts that'll hold the button down for you. And I mean, it's the same as using a piece of Scotch tape and taping down your mouse. The only difference is with the Scotch tape, once you're done building, you have to manually remove the tape and then go to the next thing that you're building and then apply the tape again, etc. And it's a little more time sensitive, it's a little more time consuming. And if you get attacked during that time, that's going to be a frustrating moment versus where AutoHotkey, I mean, you're just clicking a hotkey to get it done. So, I would like to do some tutorials on that kind of thing. If people want to learn more about AutoHotkey and how to do certain scripts and things of that nature, I would, I'm not an AutoHotkey expert. I'm not even a programmer, but I use AutoHotkey for some of the things that I do on PC, like when you're doing video editing and things. A lot of hotkeys are easier done with AutoHotkey than with the natural hotkeys built into the programs. So I use it, especially for emails and things of that nature, sentence substitution, email substitution, things like that. I use it a lot for. And other games that I play, MMOs, where you have to, constantly say the same thing to players. AutoHotkey is great for that. So if you guys are interested in learning and wanting to see the flexibility of AutoHotkey and how it can be used, and I mean, not in a cheating way, not something that automatically drives you around to all of the different places and automatically mines the nodes and all of that kind of crap. I don't believe anything out there exists like that. And if it does, I don't promote it because it's taking away the content from the game. You're not experiencing the game if it's happening automatically. So I don't condone that kind of behavior, but I do understand health risks and being able to minimize, the strain on your wrists and in the hands and the forearm. So I do understand that. And if the developers don't want us doing that kind of thing, then, I'll gladly pull back on that. But until then, until I know otherwise, I'll be glad to help the community because I believe this is a real issue. And until they can get to those quality of life changes, and I support the developers. I mean, after the 26 update, like during the 25 update, I gotta admit I was a little upset. But during the 26 update, they really helped me see their vision. So I support them more now, and I understand more of what they're doing. So when they say they're pushing back certain things, and like the quality of life updates, and including clans and clan support, I will be touching on that in this video as well. When they say they're pushing those kind of things back and they're working on the major changes for now, you know what? I can wait because now that I've had a chance to experience the update 26 and they've been giving us some hints at what's coming in update 27, I'm confident in the developer's decision, so I'll support them for that. Also, they were talking about the RMAT's cost in the game for Foxhole. The people who were chatting about it was talking about the amount of RMATs needed to build fortress walls. And truthfully, I support the cost. Because the wall spam used to be such an annoyance. And not only the wall spam, guys, the tank spam, the half-track spam, where Logi players would work all night doing import logic, grinding up the components, taking them and refining them into RMATs, and then hoping that, okay, when I come on tomorrow, I want to be able to use those RMATs to go engineer defense on the front. Wrong. As soon as I come on tomorrow, some guy's already taken all the RMATs, he's ran to the vehicle factory and just started spamming as many armored cars, half-tracks, tanks, anything he can. And see, what that does is, when the new players pop on and they actually want to learn the game, you got some guy urging them, hey, quick, jump in the tank and go to the front line. It's fun. Just take a tank. Just get out of here. Get a tank. And it's like, what are you doing, man? That's not helping anybody. Not only are you burning through our resources, but you're also encouraging people to have this Call of Duty-like mentality where you just do anything, just run out there and do something, And it's like, that's not what we want here. We actually want educated players, people who respect other people's grind. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to gather all those resources, and I don't want to drive down the road and, doing Logi, and I'm cased in on the road with a bunch of fortress wall everywhere. That doesn't help, ladies and gentlemen. Just wall spam. Building walls is a very situational thing. All right. You can't use them so willy-nilly. You can't just go around spamming walls all over the place. Because let me give you a prime example of what will happen. The enemy will end up flanking you at some point, and it won't be on the front line. What they'll do is they'll find a way to get around the front line. And the best way to attack an enemy team is to stop their supply routes. When you cut off the supplies, the front dies. That's just the truth of it. When they can't get more soldier supplies, when they can't get more howitzer shells, more ammunition, medical, when they can't get these things, they die. It's finished. And the easiest way to do that is to attack the Logi, because most Logi don't carry weapons. We're just driving around. We got our mining resources, our sledgehammer, etc. Some of us may even wear a gas mask, but I mean, think about it. You're driving down the road. A couple of towers been knocked out. You didn't even notice because, everybody's having a good time doing Logi. It's such a laid-back experience. You haven't even realized that the towers were knocked down. In the areas where the towers are knocked down, the enemies is just, growing in that area. They've built a little outpost out there. They're making sure they're all loaded and ready to go. So now what they do, they set up a tower by the road so they can spot when vehicles are coming down the road. You're coming down the road and all of a sudden a couple guys jump out, start throwing gas grenades and HE grenades. you can't turn around. The walls have you blocked in. So now instead of being able to do a 3-point turn and turn around and get out of there, say the first truck gets hit in the convoy. Once you see that first truck get hit, if the road is open, you can turn around and get the hell out of there, or at least try to run the guy over or something. But when there's walls built on the side of the road to where you can't escape, you're just sitting there waiting to die. That's really all it is now. So I don't support that wall spam, and I do support the cost to sort of keep players from doing the wall spam. Now, as far as for the tanks and like the HE explosives, not the HE grenades, the heavy explosive material that's been added into the game, I do believe that there is a serious shortage of that. And even with the random node spawning, how, they're kind of letting players figure out, like, if you want more of these supplies, you have to go take it from the enemy. I do support that, but wow, like, there's so little. And even with the crude oil, the Colonial side has a lot more crude oil than the Warden side, and I'm not claiming any sort of bias because it's all random. They've stated that numerous times. It's all random. I just can't support it right now. Like, trying to get enough petrol to fuel your armored cars to actually go out and do the runs that are needed is very difficult. Like, we have to try and stockpile as much as we can. And this is going to segue right into my next point: clan support. And I know you might be wondering, how's fuel and armored cars have to do with clans? Well, when you're working with a clan, you can actually stockpile for your clan. So when you want to do those large scale operations that involve vehicles like armored cars, tanks, etc., you can then stockpile your petrol early and your heavy explosive material early, so that you can make all the shells and things you need to support your push. The only problem is, without clan support, anything you put aside gets taken. So many times we've stockpiled, put things to the side, and all of a sudden it just goes missing overnight. You come back and somebody's already taken it. And I don't mean an enemy. I mean a friendly who's just going around finding your stash and going, I know you did all the work to collect all this, but I want to use it. And that's the thing. It really burns me up that this happens so often. And I'm very upset with that. I want the developers to push clan support a little closer. And I have some ideas that could help with the clan support and try to keep it more of a more realistic approach. You know how in other fantasy MMOs and RPGs, you have like this sort of magical player storage that you can access from almost anywhere, right? Like, you can access your secret stash from anywhere in the world. Just go to a vendor that'll allow you to do it. That wouldn't necessarily fit into Foxhole because it'd be way too fantasy, and Foxhole tries to keep it as close to a reality World War II-like battle, right? So I was thinking, the same way we have the squads in the game, right? When they add clan support, what they could do is they could make it to where, you know how you need a minimum of 6 players to create a squad and then squad lock vehicles and etc. Well, what if they added a second rule to where, okay, 6 members creates a squad. But if you get 12 members, you can upgrade your squad to a clan and give it a custom clan name, right? And now that your squad has been upgraded to a clan, you can then use clan features like clan locking equipment. Now, I had a couple of ideas for how this could work, the clan locking feature, right? One of the ideas I had to scrap because it could be abused, and that idea is being able to build your own outpost somewhere in the world and then clan locking it. So only clan members could extract goods from that outpost. And the reason I had to scrap that idea is because abuse can happen. Say, for instance, most clans are going to be honest and say, look, we're going to stockpile the things we need. We're going to go out there, grind our own resources, refine them, and just, stockpile the things we need so that we can do our pushes. What's going to happen is you're going to have members in the clan that are just going to drive around to every single home base on the battlefield and start stealing all the supplies they can, taking it back to that clan lock outpost and just stashing it there. And members who are not clans can't get them back. Because once they're in there, it's clan locked. You can't get it back. So that's where the abuse is going to happen. And that's why I had to pretty much scrap that side of the idea. But the other side of the idea is this. Say, for instance, using the same clan locking feature, you can clan lock storage containers, right? Or shipping containers, whatever they're called. And every clan gets 2 of them. You know, there won't be that many clans in the game, but every clan can only have a limit of 2, and those 2 have to last for the entire war. So if something happens to those 2 containers that you have, you're just out of luck. You cannot clan lock anymore until the next war. That way you can keep it balanced and there's not too many of these crates just kind of, floating around out there. Now, here's the benefit of this. You have just enough storage to stockpile for, operations. So you can engage in many different operations, but you have to plan them because you can't just store this unlimited amount of resources in a storage container. It's very limited. So you're going to have to think around what you need, get those things into the container. It'll be clan locked, and the clan lock features for a container will be something like you can't actually, like if you're not a clan member, you can't even pick that container up with the crane. You get what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about somebody coming up and just stealing your container full of all your clan goods and hiding it, even though they can't withdraw from it. They'll just hide it from you so you can't use it, kind of thing, right? So you'll have to be a clan member to access it. And in order to control who's clan locking what out in the field, maybe you would have like a hierarchy, right? And say the person who started the clan would be the clan leader. And there would be 2 other people to the clan leader that have the ability to pick which containers to clan lock. So that way you don't have every member in the clan capable of clan locking a crate. So that way, when the leader decides which crate he wants to clan lock, but he can't do it because one of the other members somewhere in the world on some map already did that. So now there's confusion as to where the clan's crates actually are. No, if you have it to where just, the main hierarchy of the clan, the one of the 3, it'll most likely be the leader, but one of the 3 will sit down and actually say, okay, this is where we're going to store our crates. We've got the crates in the position. We're going to go ahead and clan lock these 2. We'll inform the rest of the clan of the crates and where they are and where to bring the supplies. And you can still have your own outpost somewhere, but you can't clan lock the outpost. You'll just have your outpost where you could extract goods and etc. So I think that's a great way for clans to have mobile storage that they can take around the world. It'll fit into the game. I don't believe it'll be too difficult to code into the game. And, it'll help support until they can actually get some much better clan features installed into the game. And what this will do is it'll actually encourage more logistical work, because right now with logistics, everything that we stockpile throughout the night, like I hop onto the game just about every night and I'm doing logic. And we'll stockpile 20, 30K BMATs and fuel and just EMATs, everything that we can. And by morning, when I log back on and check, all of it's gone. And you don't have a clue where the hell it went. You look at the front line and it's even worse than it was last night. And it's like, what in the hell is going on? Like, what are you doing with these resources? We're working so hard and there's just nothing, no fruit of the labor. And that's what's so frustrating. So I really want to have that clan support. I really want the developers to work on that, give us some features in the meantime. I don't believe it'll be too hard to code if you use the features that I've discussed here. Please let me know what you guys think down in the video. Thank you guys for listening to the first Foxhole podcast episode. I'm Young Lion. I'm out. Enjoy.